Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Well, on this hand, I sit down with 4K. It's an uncapped 2-5 there. I sit down with 4K. There's probably 6 guys on the table has me covered. And when I sit down, I call a couple small hands off. So I got about 3,900 effective.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, they come out. Under the gun opens for 30. All right.
Okay.
And he's got about 4,500 effective. I'm in the big blind. I got pocket sevens, a 7 of diamonds, a 7 of hearts, and I flat the 30.
So under the gun raises to 30, it gets folded to you, and you've got sevens in the big blind, and you call.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the small blind raises to 95. And this is a gentleman that's about, I would say, in his early 60s. You would think he would be kind of tight, and but he will splash it.
Wait a minute, 1 second. I'm confused. You're saying that, so this guy opens to 30 under the gun. You're in the big blind, so the small blind, the small blind re-raises before you, right?
The guy under the gun, right at the big blind,
right,
opens to 30.
Right, but then
everybody folds around to me, and I'm in the big blind.
Right. So, but how does the small blind raise to 90?
Under the gun one.
Right.
There you go. He opens for 30.
Okay.
And then it folds around to me. I'm on the button. I flat the 30.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in the big. I thought you said big blind. It makes sense now. Okay, so you call on the button, and the small blind makes it 95. Is that right?
Makes it 95.
Okay, cool. All right, there we go. That was my bad. Okay. I just didn't understand you. Okay, so small blind makes it 95, and then does the under the gun call?
The under the gun flats the 95, and he is one of those crazy guys that goes way up and goes way down. I mean, you can't put him on a hand. I've watched him, and I've actually played with him down in Biloxi, Mississippi, before. You can't put him on a hand. No,
okay.
He's just one of those kind of guys.
Okay.
And and as I said, he's got about 4,500 effective. The small blind has about 48 to 5,000.
Okay, but you got 3,900, and you make the call, right?
I got 3,900. I've made a couple small calls, didn't hit anything.
Okay.
The other way. All right. The flop comes ace of hearts, 7 of spades, 8 of spades. So I flop a set of 7.
Ace, 7, ace?
Yep. Ace of hearts, 7 of spades, 8 of spades.
Oh, 8 of spades. Okay. Sorry. I'm just, my northern hearing is having a little bit of trouble with your Georgia accent, but it's okay. Ace, 7, 8. Ace, 7,
we don't even understand the sales.
Ace, 7, 8. So you flop bottom set here on a wet board, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
The small blind
checks. Okay. Yep.
Under the gun 1 bets out 145.
Okay.
When it comes to me, I was sitting there thinking that this guy is going to run any kind of suited connectors. That's what he really loves. But like I said, you can't put him on a hand. So I raised it to 310.
So you made a small raise to 310.
To 310.
Okay.
Basically,
here's what I would be thinking. Obviously, that now, you said maybe the under the gun is wild. I don't really see anyone really folding an ace here all that much. You can play this a number of different ways. You could flat, but when the small blind checks, he probably doesn't have I don't think he's checking ace king here. All that much. He might have been trying to play a squeeze, although he didn't really 3-bet all that much. So, he could have a pair between eights and an ace, but if you just call the flop, he's not going to overcall anyways. And if you make a small min raise and he's somehow checking an ace, he might still call. So I actually really don't mind your play here just with a small raise, and you're not really ever worried about pocket aces with the under the gun 1 because he just flatted the 3-bet initially. He would have 4-bet pre. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you make it 310.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then the small blind flat to 310.
Okay, so the small blind does flat to 310. Okay.
He does. He
Yep.
flat to 310, and then that got my attention pretty much then. So I figured, both these guys were splashy, so I was worried about suited connectors, things like that, possibly another pocket pair.
Yep.
Okay. The turn comes out a jack of hearts.
So under the gun one also calls, is that right?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So
he flatted.
145, 310, call, right?
Yep.
Okay, so the pot is like 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's probably something around $1,300.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, go to the turn.
The turn is the jack of hearts.
Okay.
So it would complete a
straight with 9-10.
Straight.
Mm-hmm.
Straight draw. Okay. The small blind checks it out.
Yep.
And then, and this didn't surprise me, the under the gun one bets out 200.
That's 200?
He bets 200. Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the thing here. So this is straight. You said this was 5-10, right? Straight 5-10, half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 2-5. 2-5.
Oh, 2-5 half.
But
So,
uncapped.
but uncapped. So you guys are really, really deep. It's a half game at 4K effective. But, I mean, the only thing you're really the only hand that you can be beaten by here, right, from under the gun one is 9-10. Like if you had 9-10 suited, I mean, I guess it's possible. According to this, there's hearts and there's spades out there too. I'm not really concerned about the small blind when he just flat calls and checks that flop on such a wet board. I mean, I guess occasionally he could have pocket aces. I mean, it's pretty close. You could call, but obviously there's a lot of action card killing cards that can come on the turn, and there's a lot of cards that change the nuts too. Now, if you want to play this as a call against a wild guy, you can do that too to protect your stack. Because, if you made this 800 or 900 and then the guy shoved all in, I don't know. I mean, if he's maniacal, it kind of sucks because, 9-10 there is out there, possibly occasionally higher sets and things like that. But so he bets 200. What did you do?
I sit there and I thought about it for a second, and it was pretty much like you said. I was worried to raise it right then. I figured I would just flat it to see what happened.
Okay.
And so I did.
Yep.
I flatted to 200.
Yep.
And the small blind thinks about it for probably about 30 to 45 seconds, and I can tell this guy's really thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He flats the 200 too.
Okay.
He's flat.
That doesn't really mean all that much because the small blind can still have a hand here like ace queen, something that he might have thought he was squeezing with and then hit an ace, or he's playing some sort of pot control. I mean, I really do think you have the best hand here against the small blind. So let's say that, for example, the river here is a deuce and it gets checked to you. You have an easy value bet. I mean, you're hoping to see an offsuit brick card here, but there aren't all that many, obviously. But anyways, the pot's 1900. We roll the river, and what is it? What's the river?
The river comes off the 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. So you fill up. Oh, you make quads. Okay.
I make quads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then, to my amazement, the small blind bets out 225.
Small blind bets 225.
The small blind bets out 225.
That's really weird because that almost seems like that's like small blind should almost never bet there. Unless he's like blocking, like if he's got ace king and he's somehow blocking it. You know what I mean? Like maybe he thinks that because of that small bullshit that went on the turn, he's got ace king or ace queen and he's just like, you know what? I'm not going to let this get checked through. You know what I mean? It's super small bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I noticed later on in the game, and I kind of thought this in my head, I noticed the UTG1 was so wild that he figured if he bet it out, he would raise him if he had a straight to see if he had anything. So, anyway, the UTG1, he flats the 225.
Okay, so UTG1 flats. I don't think I'd go nuts here with your hand because I don't really think that the way that the action went here, that these guys are really all that strong. Oh, my God, I might have just lost.
Conference unlocked.
Give me a call back here, Todd, but I'm gonna continue on here. I think I might have just lost Todd. He just got disconnected. But if he gives a call back, so you can see. Here we go. Todd, you're back on the line. You hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So what I was going to say is that this is an interesting one. I wouldn't go nuts here because it doesn't look like these guys are really all that strong. The small blind's hand is really weird, and I mean I know you're an older guy because I met you, so I would probably make it like 700 here. I'd make a value raise. You know what I mean? Like it certainly doesn't seem like anyone can be super super strong here. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it gets weird. I sit there and I think about it. All right. I bet I raised it to 1,100, and I can see the guy.
Locked.
So you raised it to
The guy
1100.
I raised to 1,100,
Yep.
and the guy in the small blind just turns and stares at me, and he's sitting there thinking, and the craziest thing ever happened. Now remember, I got under the gun behind me.
Mhm.
He's sitting there watching. This guy takes and tables pocket aces, and he's looking at me, and he says, the only hand you could have, he said, if I put you on sevens or eights, the only hand you could have is quads. He said, that's the only hand you could have right there. And he mucks the aces.
He mucks pocket aces.
He mucks the aces. And the guy, the wild guy down there under the gun is just about to flip out. And he doesn't show me, but he said, that's the craziest thing I ever seen. And he mucks.
So the guy in the small blind showed his hand before the under the gun act, so you never got to see what the under the gun had?
Yeah, he did.
That's
He did.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And he's sitting there thinking, and he said that the only hand you could raise with right there is quads. He said, I put you on sevens or eights. He's like, I'm not going to pay y'all, and he mucks it.
I mean, that's sort of dumb from his perspective, because if I'm reading this correctly, and then I got to move on, Todd, I got some other people here, but
Go right ahead.
there's no straight flush out there. So from my perspective, like I said, I mean, obviously it's easy for you to make this bet with quads, right? I mean, to raise with quads.
Yeah.
I would have made it smaller, but why wouldn't you play pocket eights the same way? And the question for you is, would you play pocket eights the same way? I mean, I would play it exactly the same way. How do we think that this guy's got pocket aces in the small blind the way that this went down? You know what I mean? Like, you'd raise the river with pocket eights, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you raise the river with pocket eights, there's 3 combos of pocket eights that you just said you'd play the same way. I don't know about the sizing, right? And there's only 1 combo of pocket sevens. So I don't know if this guy, that's kind of interesting that you said this was a half-half game, and maybe he's more of a PLO player, but that's the most absurd laydown ever for that price, and then he shouldn't be tabling his hand with another guy in there as well. But Todd, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. That's kind of a wild hand.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.